You were meant to live the high life. Have you ever looked around your life at the bills on the table, the exhaustion in your body, the endless list of things to do, and thought, is this it? Is this all I was meant for? It's a quiet kind of ache, isn't it? That longing for more, not because you're ungrateful, but because deep down something in your spirit knows this can't be all there is. You were not born to merely survive, you were created to soar. But somewhere along the line, life happened. Dreams got delayed, disappointments piled up, and slowly, without realizing it, you started to shrink yourself to fit the chaos around you. You started calling barely enough a blessing when God always intended you to walk in abundance. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the kind of abundance that shows up as peace when you should be anxious. The kind that feels like joy in the middle of the storm. The kind that whispers hope when logic says it's over. That is the high life. Now, let's be honest for a moment. When you hear the phrase high life, your mind might jump to fancy cars, dream vacations, designer everything. But I'm not talking about a lifestyle. I'm talking about a spiritual attitude, my friend. It's a way of living above the noise, above the fear, above the world systems that tell you you're not enough unless you prove it. The high life is when you stop defining your worth by what's in your bank account and start defining it by what's in your heart. It's when you wake up and realize, I may not have everything I want, but I have what I need, and that means I'm already blessed. It's when you learn to smile even when nothing's perfect. Because peace no longer depends on circumstances, it depends on perspective. Can I tell you something? Some of the most spiritually poor people I've ever met were the richest by the world's standards. And some of the most joyful people I've ever met had very little, but their hearts overflowed. Because the high life doesn't come from what you have, it comes from what you carry. And you, my friend, were meant to carry light, God's light. You were meant to carry peace. You were meant to carry the very presence of God into dark places and make them glow again. But here's what happens. The enemy doesn't need to steal your house, your job, or your car. He just needs to convince you that you're powerless. Because the moment you forget who you are, you start living beneath your design. There's a story about an eagle who grew up among chickens. It hatched in the wrong nest, surrounded by clutching, pecking birds that never flew more than a few feet off the ground. And so, the eagle learned to do what they did. It scratched for food, it stayed too close to the earth. It never stretched its wings. One day, a storm rolled in. The winds were fierce, the trees were bending, and the chickens ran for cover. But the eagle felt something different. Something inside it stirred. It looked up at the sky and felt this strange pull, like the wind was calling its name. It stretched its wings awkwardly at first, and then the next thing it knew, the wind lifted it higher and higher, above the storm, above the fear, above everything it had ever known. That eagle had always been an eagle. It just forgot. And maybe, just maybe, that's you. You've been walking among fear, surrounded by survival, clutching and pecking through life because it's what you were taught. But inside you, there's something wild and holy that's begging to fly again. You were meant to live the high life, my friend, and that doesn't mean everything will be easy. It means you'll see differently. Isaiah chapter 40 verses 31 says, "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Do you catch that? Mount up, rise above. That's the life. That's the high life, the elevated life. It's not about escaping the world. It's about seeing it from heaven's perspective. When you live from that altitude, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop panicking over every storm and start asking, "God, what are you showing me through this wind?" And suddenly, peace becomes your normal. Joy becomes your language. Hope becomes your home address. Maybe you've been through seasons that made you forget this truth. Maybe someone told you that your dreams were unrealistic. Maybe you prayed for years and saw nothing change. Maybe your heart got broken and you started to believe that average was all you deserved. But can I tell you something that might just reignite that spark? The enemy fights hardest in the lives of those who carry the most potential. That's why the pressure has been so heavy. That's why it's been one battle after another. You're not cursed, you're called. You've just been sitting in a waiting room called becoming. You are not behind, you are not forgotten. You are in training for elevation. So what does it look like to live this high life? Let's make it real. It means you choose gratitude before complaining. You pause and pray instead of panicking. You decide to forgive even when they don't apologize, because peace is worth more than pride. You start speaking life over your situation instead of feeding fear. It's simple, but it's powerful. Because every time you choose peace, you're rising higher. Every time you choose love over bitterness, you're stepping into the atmosphere of heaven. Every time you look at your reflection and say, "I am enough," you're realigning with your divine DNA. That's what high life people do. They don't deny the storm. They don't drown in it either. They ride the wind. Listen to me. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not your bank balance. You are not the opinion of others. You are, my friend, God's masterpiece, still in progress, still rising, still learning how to stretch those wings. And maybe today is the day you stop crawling and start soaring again. Maybe today you look up and say, "I'm tired of living beneath my calling. I'm ready to live above the noise." Picture this for a moment. You're standing on a mountain and everything below you, the valleys, the fog, the chaos, looks small from up here. That's what happens when you shift your perspective. The problems didn't disappear. They just lost their power to control you. That's the high life. Not a life free from challenges, but a life free from fear. Because you know who walks beside you. You know who holds tomorrow. And that confidence, that steady, quiet faith becomes your greatest peace. So I want to challenge you this week. Do one thing each day that lifts you higher. That might mean turning off the noise and spending just 10 minutes talking to God. It might mean writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or simply saying no to something that drains your peace. because every small step upward builds momentum. Before you know it, you look back and realize you've been climbing, you've been rising, you've been living the high life all along. Let's take a moment right here. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath and say this with me slowly. God, lift me higher. Lift my thoughts, lift my heart, lift my eyes to see what you see. I don't want to live low anymore. I'm ready to rise. Now pause and feel that peace, that stillness, that gentle reminder that heaven is closer than you think. You were never meant to just get by, my friend. You were meant to thrive. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. You were never meant to scrape by in survival mode. You were meant to live in overflow. Because the same God who formed the stars is the same one who dreamed of you. He didn't make you ordinary. He made you a divine art. So lift your chin, square up your shoulders, smile at your reflection, and whisper this truth over your soul. I was meant to live the high life, and starting today, I will. Don't wait for the world to approve it. Don't wait for everything to make sense. Just decide. Because your comeback starts with a choice. And this right now is your moment. You are meant to live the high life. So go walk in it. Until next time, see you, my friends. Take care. Remember, Jesus loves you, and I love you.